My name is Dan Beam. I just wanted to put out there preeminently, I'm sorry for all the pooping earlier. I didn't mean anything by it. If you want to come and poop in me, feel free. My tour will be open to anybody that feels like they want retribution. Come on over. Again, I'm sorry. But on to my presentation. This is how to be a player on the internet, the making of Yahoo's Universal JS Media Player. And as you can tell by the purple, I'm from Yahoo. So what is Yahoo Media Player? Well, obviously it's a Universal JS Media Player, so I thought it best explained in JS. With the appending of one script, your page goes from cool to awesome. I find the code example pretty self-explanatory. So I wanted to show you guys real quick a demonstration of the actual product because I'm pretty sure I have a few of you that have never seen it. So here's a quick demo of what it does and what it can do for you. I promise I'll get into more engineering stuff real soon. So this is a band. We allow independent blog owners and publishers, mainly like bands and stuff, to use our player. So they throw the one script tag, and they'll get an experience similar to something like this. As a user, when I scroll down the page, I notice a play button next to this particular link. It will automatically play the video right in context while I continue to read. So I can see this is a great love song still versus in other embeds, it's a little harder to read because if you wanted to continue reading, the video would also move. There's a lot of other reasons too, but we also play audio as well, which also allows you to continue reading and doesn't really wreck your experience. If I want to find this audio on my page, all I have to simply do is click this handy dandy scroll to button. So these are just a couple of the features that we have, and so let's get into now what you as a developer can do to customize an experience like this if you're not quite satisfied with what this does, or if you just want to make something on your own. And you know why, because we love developers. So our API has a lot of public methods. It's all on one global, Yahoo.MediaPlayer in the style of YUI2 when this was originally created. You can also set global environment variables that control auto-playing, album art, all kinds of cool stuff. So this allows you to create custom experiences. So say, for instance, I didn't want the same experience as just being able to play inline in the page. I could also do something kind of like this. So I made this as a real quick hack. All it does is it pulls the top 5 hits off of GData API for YouTube. So I'm going to look up keyboard cat, and all it does is it plays. Let me see if I can actually get audio working. So it'll just play the first 5 of the top hits on YouTube for about 5 seconds each. And this is using our API to be able to just have a more custom experience. It's real simple code. It's not a lot. Add some content, add tracks, just using a convenient DOM node API. You just have to add the container. It parses all the links for you. And then you play and set an interval to continue going. Another level of customization would be skinning. We want you to be able to skin it however you want. This is how Yahoo Search made theirs look. It's pretty easy to skin. It's going to be a lot easier in the next super secret awesome cool version. And there will also be a preset theme roller and chooser real soon. So our goals as Yahoo Media Player would be, like I mentioned, easy to install. One script should rule them all. You should be able to take your page from a page to a playlist. Like I mentioned, you can be able to just add inline play buttons easily, and you should be able to mix audio and video because that adds a really cool experience and just makes overall like a dry page of text into a much richer experience for all your users, keeps them on the site longer, makes you more money. So like I mentioned, we want to work on any page, in any browser device, with any media or service. And let's get into how we actually do that. Yeah, so we support every browser you can think of except Iceweasel. And and kind of Opera because of YUI's graded browser support. We do support it, but we're not really required to. So the first way we go about actually supporting a lot of browsers and a lot of formats, oh, I should mention the formats. We play a lot of stuff: MP3, WMA, M4A, FLV, YouTube, Yahoo Movies, a lot of stuff. So the first thing we do is we have a clear separation. We loose couple all of our stuff. We have a ton of code. Without some type of organization, you would be totally lost. So one thing we make a heavy use of is the adapter pattern, which works super well for engines. If you'll notice here, this is our inheritance kind of tree. We have just a base engine which does event publishing and subscription, which goes down more specifically to engine and audio and video engines, and has all the engines we currently support, with the future ones we plan to using HTML5 audio and video. It should be coming soon. And we also allow this adapter pattern, by the way, it allows you to just create a common API, right? Each engine will have something like play, pause, next, stop, stuff like that, real easy, but we can tame those quirks, and there's a ton of quirks. Media engines suck. They're not great. So we can tame those quirks at any level, including one specifically for a certain engine or the entire way up the chain. So another cool thing that a flexible architecture does for you, and this adapter pattern, Nimrod is a fellow developer. He's a smart dude, not a Nimrod. Anyways, we use graceful fallback in a sense that if you happen to be on something like Windows without Flash, we'll know instantly that we can go to Windows Media Player or QuickTime relatively easily based on the fact that we know Windows Media Player is better for your particular OS. Same with OS X, we can go to QuickTime and other things like that. We have a large, complicated fallback chain. We use any possible way to play the media that we can get, basically. And like I said, many more engines to come. Another cool feature that we have is the ability to kind of just link to movies, and then we will automatically find a trailer for you using YQL to hit Yahoo Movies. And then if that doesn't happen to have a trailer for that movie, we'll go back to GData with YouTube. And we basically just take care of all the glue code and the effort it takes to require or to find the trailer you want. So, but enough about us. On to you. How do we peacefully coexist with your page, unless your page is on Gopher? So for CSS, we heavily namespace everything. We've come into issues before, but so we namespace all of our classes. We use no IDs because they're global, and we do a lot of interesting things. We filter chain, which is just like glorified search and replace, on YUI3 widget CSS at build time, just changing it and adding our own CSS prefix. We also do a lot of contextual CSS resetting, which is really cool. So yeah, just our player can be able to be reset similar to the way that you would be able to reset an entire HTML page, but just contextually within ours to not affect you. As well as we do a little more aggressive resets to be able to override cool MySpace hacks like cursor crosshair and all that other fun stuff while you're mousing in our player. We also coexist peacefully, or attempt to, with JavaScript as well. We have minimal included dependencies. We will never conflict with the library or any of your globals or natives on the page. We also use an async loader, and we'll get to that in a sec. We use one URL. You have the same URL forever. You always constantly get our updated versions. We push out versions a lot. You get this. You always get the latest version as long as you're using our loader. We host the entire thing ourselves. You don't have to pay a cent for bandwidth. The full player is cached forever, regardless of which page you happen to load it on, whether it's a Yahoo movie page or a blog you happen to see for an artist. Yeah, and we only introduce one semi-global if you didn't already have Yahoo as one. So let's get on to performance. So obviously in performance, when it comes to HTTP requests, less is more. We have an interesting hack we've done where we build CSS into our JavaScript. We minify it with a YUI compressor, and we build it into the JavaScript just in a string literal and inject it after we're on the page itself. So that pipelines all the HTTP connections for CSS required into one JavaScript file. We do this at build time with Ant and Ant templates. It's real cool. And then we also heavily use CSS spriting. We only have one image that I think that is from us. It's a large sprite for all the UI of all the player. It's pretty cool. And right now we're investigating inlining data URIs into the CSS for the sprite, as well as any type of engines code that we need, inlining that into the script as well for browsers that support it, i.e. 8 and above and everything else, not surprisingly. More on performance. We do DOM caching and delegation, pretty de facto standard these days. We only query your DOM once, and we do it relatively after we've found the containers. We cache every reference. We delegate all of our events to make sure that you don't have a lot of memory bloat from handlers, as well as we catch any extraneous events that we don't want propagating up to your page. All this is so we can coexist and not affect the performance of your page, because that's obviously something we want to consider. And last, like I mentioned a little bit, async laziness. This is for Ryan of YUI, lolcats. We are non-blocking. Like I mentioned, the only part that blocks on your page is a small loader that decides whether or not to inject itself if it finds media links. We lazy load anything we can. Like, for instance, a YouTube player like I showed you. We lazy load all the metadata for all the items if we need to get more. We do it only when you play the items, so you're not paying anything for all of that. And then we do a bit more cool stuff with YQL. You've heard it mentioned a couple times, Yahoo query language. We do server-side processing with JavaScript, which is pretty sweet. JSConf, I know you care. We do server-side JavaScript with Rhino and an execute, which allows you to do any processing manipulation and only send back just the small subset of data that you need. So I mean, a lot of APIs expose a lot of data. If you ever looked at any of Google or Yahoo's APIs, they have a ton of stuff. You usually only need a couple things. Send only what you need over the wire, cache it intelligently with YQL, and it also adds some really cool aspects of access control. When you have an API key with YQL, you're able to actually create 3 multiple keys that would be able to allow users to execute, read, or write your table. This is really useful when you're a client-side widget because there's basically no security when you're completely on the client side. So this allows us to hide API keys, host name information, all that fun stuff, and only expose that execute key to everyone that uses the plugin. So now to the future. I've mentioned a couple times, we have some future plans. And the one that I've been working on for a little while and is due to come out the soonest is the new UI. It's about as sexy as Mr. Hasselhoff here, maybe even more. But it is sexier, faster, more skinnable. I'm sorry if you have to look away. Okay. But that's it. That's a mock right there. A little different looking from our previous rev, as you can tell. It's a lot sleeker. This happens to be on a Yahoo movie blog that we're already injected in. So it looks pretty sweet. It's going to have a lot more features. Come talk to me afterwards if you're interested in hearing about them. And sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Just wanted to check my spot. What up? I did not, but I can if you want. So like I said, we're going to add more engines like audio and video because this allows a lot more things for us. Any codecs that we didn't previously support, anything that we wouldn't be able to play easily with more engines, you can just do natively in the browser. That's really cool. We're kind of just waiting for it to stabilize out just a tiny bit more, and then we're going to drop that into our flexible architecture like I mentioned. We're really interested in supporting mobile and tablet. We kind of accidentally work on Android already because of the headless Swift that I mentioned earlier that plays some of the audio. But the rest, we've been getting a lot of requests for iOS devices, and we're planning on supporting that really soon. So you'll be able to literally work on almost anything. And then we're also planning on adding more video and audio services and publishers. If you have recommendations, come talk to me afterwards, or we have a tech group, or you can have my email. Just let us know. We're kind of categorizing. We have quite a few ideas. We just want to prioritize which ones. And we're adding a social feature. Say you thought that the keyboard cat video is awesome, and you did think that actually some of your friends don't happen to know about it. You'd be able to share it or tweet about it, something like that, right from the player. So we're integrating those aspects real soon too, and much more. There's the sales pitch. So thank you again for listening. My name is Dan. I hope Batman doesn't come arrest me right now. So, and then here's credits for all those photos. Flickr rocks.